Hello. I didn't recognize I was going to make another video so soon, but this dev diary came out about an hour after I made the previous video. We're not going to read this part because if you want to know what any of this means, go watch yesterday's video. It's literally just a recap of something that they wrote like 2 hours before this came out. So, this video is about 1.3, the Pavia patch, and essentially the biggest news, of course, the most important news is I'm going to be doing another Milan campaign. 200 new advances over Italy. I mean, obviously, Milan isn't going to get 200 advances. That's just crazy. That's silly talk, right? But there's going to be more countries in Italy that are worth playing other than Milan, Genoa, Venice, Florence, Pope, Naples, maybe Verona, right? There's going to be more than those 7 countries that are going to be playable if 200 are going to be spread across all of them. And maybe if you're playing as Milan and you say have gotten another 20 new advances and such, maybe you are not that pushed and 8 countries, Sicily. Maybe you're not that pushed into forming, say, 2 Sicilies, right? As Milan, I formed 2 Sicilies for the extra advances, and it was pretty good, right? It was an objective increase in my power. That wasn't necessary. Maybe that's not necessary anymore. Maybe we'll have countries that are able to stand up on their own 2 feet. And well, I mean, they all really can. I kind of did it for metagaming reasons and feel kind of bad about it. But either way, it's cool. It's cool. I'm a massive fan of Italy. It is my favorite area in the game to play, and second place ain't close. So hugely anticipating this. 2 overhauled situations in the Guelphs and Ghibellines and the Italian Wars. I think this is coming. People kind of don't care about the Guelphs and Ghibellines other than if I join the other side to the people I want to conquer, I've got a CB that I'm able to fabricate. That is the most important part about Guelphs and Ghibellines. That's obviously not the intended like push from Paradox. That's not the thing that they want you to care about when it comes to this. So overhauling the situation, totally happy with. Italian Wars, not a single human being has ever played through it. Because by the time you get to the Italian Wars, congratulations, you've actually already conquered all of Italy already. Like it is completely meaningless to have this in the game as it stands right now, so that is also going to get an overhaul. Fantastic. Love to see it. 100 new flavor events and full dialect rendering across every Italian location and character name. There is a few that we've seen already. For example, Genoa has had its location, or the city itself, renamed in the game to Zena, because that is what they call it in the Ligurian dialect of Italian. Venezia, Milano, Firenze, like all of these different ways of saying the Italian cities, because Italian as a language is not one single like unity kind of language, right? It's still got many different versions. And I'm pretty sure, isn't it like Corsican or Sardinian is like the closest to Roman Latin of, antiquity Roman that there still exists in the world. But anyway, that's cool. That's really cool. The Walls of Lucca we have as an event that will happen. 109 ducats to have walls building in Lucca. Okay, fair enough. War and famine may not always reach Lucca, but when they do, every citizen suffers. The watch on the walls are always on the lookout for enemies, knowing that should defeat come, their home will be in danger. Many in the court have proposed expanding the walls, making them as grand as possible to gain the confidence of the people and ensure the safety of every citizen. Cool, I like that. I also like that it looks like there is going to be symbols added to the societies. I don't think I've seen this before. Defensive, getting a shield. This will obviously be offensive, getting a crossed swords. This is a really nice way of showing the societies, right? Because right now, what it looks like here, we are 7.7 offensive. Defensive is getting plus 10. Currently, as it stands, minus 100 is offensive and plus 100 is defensive. But if we are plus 7.7 offensive, it looks like we are getting a instead of a scale minus 100, 0, 100, we're getting, 100, 0, and then another 100, but in a different direction. Like, this seems like a much better way of showcasing what you are to the player, because a lot of times, especially when you are trying to push a certain value and it is going negative, people don't like seeing negative numbers. We don't like seeing that, oh, I want to push minus centralization to go centralized. Like, it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, myself included. So I love this change. I think it's going to be fantastic. Along with those come new mechanics for credit worthiness, state bonds, and central banks. What the hell? They are expanding the economic system again. 1.3 brings 10 new unique building-based state and family banks of the 15th and 16th centuries. In parallel, the English Bank of England, the Dutch Wisselbank, and the Swedish Riksbank are now developed upon the new mechanism for central banks. We're getting a new tab called credit. It's going to have its own tab in the eco area, and we have a credit worthiness rating. I guess if you fail to pay back your loans, then your loans will be harder to come by. You cannot loan max as much as possible. More stuff. They're adding 20 new government reforms. Always happy with that. Deepening the societal value system. We just talked about that as well. Two new generic bureaucracy sets covering mid-game, early modern European states, and early Chinese administration. And 5 new town rights, giving you proper toolbox for shaping your settlements. We'll talk about the bureaucracies in a moment, because there is a comment that I want to go and show you as well. New town rights, if these are available at the start of the game and they're generic town rights, as in basically anyone can use them, that is the best situation. I think the tool set that countries have at the start of the game, unless you are lucky and you are German or you are Spanish, then you are kind of shafted. Like, the Italian unique town right is kind of bad and you kind of don't want it at all. So if there are 5 new generic ones that are, wanted, fantastic. New Bulgarian fragmentation disaster, the twilight of the Sodom, with a unique government reform, the Bulgarian Sodom, and some advances for Balkan nations that didn't make the cut for 1.2 but have been added for 1.3. Fantastic. Next week they're going to be showing us reworked Italian war situation. Really looking forward to that. And made thanks to our feedback is important, because there was a thread on the forum, thread on Twitter, there was a thread on the Discord, where they were basically asking, like, what do you think about the Guelphs and Gibellines? What do you think about the Italian wars? What do you think? Give suggestions. And I guess they've taken some of that feedback to heart, because if everyone had said, "Oh yeah, no, it's grand," then it wouldn't have changed. But obviously that's different. 1.3, will it be playable within 10 days? A beta version of it will be available, is the plan. Fantastic news. Didn't want to take too much time away from 1.2.4 stuff. There won't be long until we see for ourselves and give feedback on it. Fantastic. A lot of states will be getting bureaucracies in 1.3 beyond Byzantium and Trebizond. Will this be tied to unlocking specific events? So, this is the thing about the new bureaucracies. The European ones are unlocked by an Age 4 advance. Until Age 4, you are not going to be getting bureaucracies as a European, unless your flavor of European is Roman. And Age 4 is kind of late, that's what, 1537 is when Age 4 opens up, and then it's an advance in Age 4, so you're not getting them before 1580-ish, probably. It might be a little late. Maybe some people are going to complain about that. I might be one of them, because I think bureaucracies are interesting, and I want to like them. I currently kind of don't. At the moment, for the Romans, they seem to be a money sink without much of a increase in money to start with, right? They are something that you have to pay for, otherwise you get horrible negatives. And sure, when you pay for them, you get nice positives, but there's no, like, in between where I don't pay for them and don't get a negative. Like, it's kind of iffy that way. So I'm not sure bureaucracies are quite there yet, but if more countries had them, more countries that more people will play. So, for example, if all bureaucracies or some bureaucracies were available for all Europeans, which I'm fairly confident is the most played nations, then more people would be able to play with them, and then there would be more feedback on what might maybe not be the most fun thing in the world. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I like the idea of them, but not currently the implementation. And if they were available from the start, maybe more people would give feedback and make them better that way. China, though, they start with country-specific bureaucracies and some content around changing or improving them. Fantastic, good, that makes sense. Will bureaucracies be locked behind the DLC? No, they will not. They'll be part of the free patch. They will be able to be gotten without any DLC. And then we have this whole spiel as well. Really hope the devs are spending 90% of their time fixing things already in the game that either don't work right or make the game unfun and focus on solving the performance issues. These are like 3 separate jobs. So what part of their 90% do you want to spend on those 3 separate jobs? Fix things that don't work right is one job, or make the game unfun. That's content. That's another thing. Solving performance issues. That's another thing. Like, what are we doing here? Everything sounds good in a dev direct, and all the YouTube promoters will promote away. Feel a little called out. Not gonna lie. Feel the smidge called out right there. But whatever, it's fine. Pavi responding. On the new content side, they usually take the approach to address player concerns with new additions, trying to both make the game work right and make the game more fun. 2 specific cases unfolding in 1.3. Bulgarian Twilight of the Sodom is twofold. On one hand, it's designed to give the player a more interesting, meaningful, and immersive early game. It also gives an interesting reward if completed successfully. This part is important to me, right? Getting rewards for completing things successfully, especially if those rewards are permanent, I am in favor of. And sure, people might think that that is like gonna cause power creep, but as long as you don't make the power higher than what the Ottomans get, then you're never gonna creep higher than that. That'll be the pinnacle, right? And I think we can agree that nothing needs to be more powerful than the Ottomans at least in Europe and around. They can stay where they are. They don't need to become more powerful. They're kind of broken right now. But if as long as you don't add stuff that makes you more powerful than the Ottomans, then that's fine. Like we're going to be in a good situation, I think. Bulgaria starts with a capped empire rank, which modifier-wise makes the country akin to a kingdom, so effectively empire only in name. That's an interesting way of doing things. People often complain that Bulgaria is called, or they were an empire, but then they're not an empire, and there's a lot of like debate in the forums about it. But having them be empire in name only and then modifiers of kingdom is an interesting thing. Overcoming it removes the starting penalty, making it a full proper empire. On the other hand, it's also aimed to make the AI of Bulgaria more fragile, more prone to collapse, and have seceding polities, and easier prey for its neighbours. Technically, this was more fitting for 1.2 than 1.3, but they came up with the design idea a bit late in the dev pipeline, so they rescheduled it for 1.3. As we're having more time to iterating on it properly, both in the internal pipeline but with the community in the open beta. Very nice. DHEs for Verona have been added, mostly resolving around the Scaligeri War, which now has a different starting game flow. This is the 3rd starting game flow for these wars that I have seen so far then. Specifically for AI versus AI results, it's aimed to have it end more with historical results. So some people here may repeat, Scaligeri War needs a situation itself, which I don't disagree with, but creating and refining situations takes a long time and resources, which for 1.3 they decided to be more focused on more focused content. Bro likes repeating the words. And more bug fixing. It's likely in future that they will revisit it, though. All right, cool. My opinion on this dev diary. It's phenomenal. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. Italian countries getting more stuff is my jam, quite literally. I'm also very curious about credit worthiness. That's intriguing me. And yeah, I mean, the big things in 1.3, I think, is going to be performance, right? We know that performance is going to be something they look at in 1.3. The beta coming in less than 10 days is super important, and we'll be able to see if that performance changes is going to help. One thing I will note is that for One Proud Bavarian, he had a lot of performance issues when he tried 1.2, and then he went to using DirectX 12 instead of Vulkan, and his performance increased massively, which surprised him because previously it was Vulkan that was better than DirectX 12. So if you are having performance issues, try swapping, and maybe that's going to help. I can't say for sure, but maybe that is going to help some people. But either way, thanks all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thought it was going to be a short one, but then I rambled for 15 minutes. So apologies for that. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.